I now move that House Bill 157 be voted do pass. Any discussion? Representative Van Schoiack.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment ending in 02C. It has been distributed. I move for its adoption. Substitute. House Committee substitute. I'm sorry, it's a House Committee substitute. Yes.
Any discussion on the motion?
Give me just 1 second. I just got.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to explain a little bit on this.
Please.
The bill handler and I have had a good discussion on this. As we talked about in evidentiary hearing on this bill, we can switch to standard time by ourselves without it, depending on any other states doing anything. The federal government allows us to do that, to do away with daylight savings time, go back to standard time, and stop switching the clocks back and forth. The people that I talked to, the vast majority said, stop the madness, stop switching the clocks, do something. If we rely on the pact, it may or may not happen for years and years. Who knows how long that would take? So, and this substitute also says that notwithstanding the provision of Section 1, which switches us back to standard time, to the contrary, if the federal government adopts daylight savings time as the new standard time, the state of Missouri shall set clocks to conform with the new standard time. So if the federal government would adopt daylight savings time year-round, we would go to that and follow that.
Any discussion on the House? Representative Banger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that makes more sense that we don't have to be involved in the pact. So how many states do you think, if the federal government does this, do you think most of the states will follow the federal government's guidelines? Or I just see this being a mess if everybody doesn't follow it.
I would think if the federal government would switch one way or the other, that most states would follow that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you did any research.
I've not done any research on that, no.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Representative Chappelle.
Just very briefly, personally, I'm up for a 10th Amendment fight over the deal, just because. But most of the people I've spoken with would prefer we go to permanent daylight saving. But my inbox is full of people from all around the country begging us to go to standard time. Had it referred to as God's time. I'm not sure where that is, but I think the vast majority of people, regardless of which side of the question, they just want to stop switching back and forth. More than anything else, that's what we've heard. So I appreciate the committee substitute.
Further discussion? Representative Strickland.
To comment. So I really like the standard time side of that, and I do agree people want single time. I'm probably going to vote against this just because for those of us that live on the border in Kansas and Missouri, which is a border that we cross pretty regularly, doctor's appointments on one side, work on one side, that kind of thing. I think that will be a challenge. If this goes through, I hope that some of the other states would choose to do the same thing. But I do think it will be challenging for the folks, at least in the Kansas City area. That being said, I do recognize that our folks want a single time, and I do prefer the standard. So I'll be a no, but I understand why we've got that there.
Further discussion? Seeing none, I now move that we adopt the House Committee substitute for House Bill 157. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. We've adopted the substitute. I now move that we do pass House Committee substitute for House Bill 157. Please call the roll.
Chairman Murphy.
Aye.
Vice Chair Van Schoiack.
Aye.
Representative Spangert.
Aye.
Baker. Boggs.
Aye.
Chappell.
Aye.
Davis. Lavasco. Nixon Clark. Briggs. Sauls. Schulte. Schwadron. Strickler.
With 11 ayes and 1 no, we have due passed House Committee Substitute for House Bill 157.